Welcome to the lecture. I'm Cynthia McAllister. In this lecture, you will learn about the Writing Conference, including its primary aim and procedures for implementation. The general description of the conference is also provided. Writing conferences are a form of one-on-one instruction in the writing class. They're 10-minute meetings with individual students intended to engage them in conversations about their writing. Writing conferences take place during work time. The primary aim of the Writing Conference is to provide the writer the opportunity to explore the relationship between features of their composition and the achievement of their intentions, to improve the ability to use metalanguage to discuss aspects of their writing, to develop a more critical understanding of the dynamics of written genres, that is, the relationship between the author's intention, the text structure, and the reader's responsive understanding, to receive feedback about strategies to improve the effectiveness of the composition in relation to the achievement of their intentions. The summary procedures for the conference are as follows. A writing conference calendar should be posted so that students can prepare in advance. The teacher moves to the location where the student is working to conduct the writing conference. The teacher prompts the student to explain the intention of the text and the desired response from the audience. The teacher prompts the student to read the piece or to read a section of a larger piece for which feedback is desired. Remember, the conference needs to take place in a period of 10 minutes. So if a student has written a long piece, they should plan in advance what portion they want to share with the teacher. Number 5, the teacher prompts the student to identify how the texts function to achieve their intentions, and to explain how. Notice in the writing conference forum that the teacher should encourage the student to respond in full utterances. Resist the temptation to lead the conference and to provide language for the student. One of the primary aims of the writing conference is to help the student develop a way to talk about their writing as a vehicle for metalinguistic and metacognitive awareness. So don't speak for the student. Number 6, the teacher responds by identifying how she or he believed the text functioned to achieve its intentions, pointing out specific aspects of the writing and how they achieved the purpose. The teacher then prompts the student to identify a point where the writing isn't quite working to achieve their intentions, and then to try to explain why. The student should also be prompted to explain how this portion might be revised in order to do a better job at achieving intentions. The teacher then offers feedback to the point the student raised, and the teacher points out a place in the text where he or she believes the writing could be revised to better achieve intentions, and offers a strategy for revision. Finally, the teacher prompts the student to identify next steps, and records the response in the goal section of the writing conference record. Again, the goal should be in the student's words. You can transcribe what the student has said, but he or she should state the goal in his or her own words. Have the student read their goal and then sign or initial the form. Research shows that we're more likely to keep commitments when they've been made as promises. Depending on the target numbers your school leadership determines based on the total number of instructional days in the year, the average number of conferences for each student should take place on a set basis. This guideline is an aspect of the opportunity to learn strategy inherent in the learning cultures model. It's based on an access logic. If we know that certain types of social interactions promote learning, then accountability to ensure that every child has consistent access to these interactions is a means by which opportunity to learn can be guaranteed for each student. The materials you'll need are a writing conference record, draft of the student writing, writing standards or rubric for reference, a text exemplar, and a writing conference rubric. The writing conference is an opportunity to play genre practice. Just like a one-on-one game of catch with the coach, the writing conference lets the student have an opportunity to hear feedback from the teacher in order to perfect writing technique and broaden insight about how writing works. It's feedback, but in the action. The writing must be in draft form. Since the purpose of the conference is to receive feedback that will advance the development of the writing process, as well as the product at hand, polished final drafts are not shared in conferences. Students who are working on long pieces of writing should be encouraged to prepare for the conference ahead of time and to identify a smaller section of the piece for attention in the writing conference. Each day, the teacher has a conference with 2 students, each of which is about 10 minutes in length. Whenever possible, 1 or more writing exemplars should be referred to in the context of the conference. If the student has a clear enough idea of the form the writing should take, he or she should take responsibility to collect several text exemplars. But it might be the case that the student is as yet uncertain about what form the writing should take, in which case you should help the student by suggesting possible forms as exemplars and showing the student how to access these forms. It's also useful to have a copy of the writing standards or a writing rubric handy so that you can help students make connections between the concrete strategies they have attempted in their writing and how these efforts are characterized as formal conventions in standards documents or assessment documents. The Writing Conference rubric can be used to guide implementation of the writing conference and as a reflective tool to help you improve the quality of your interactions with students. So let's summarize and review. In this lecture, you learned about writing conferences. You learned about the primary aim and the basic procedures of writing conferences. Without referring back to the lecture, see if you can explain the logic of the conference. Why are they conducted? What insights in students are they intended to develop?